Hello, everyone. My name is Denee, and as mentioned, I'm the regional manager in the West, and I'm very excited to show you how I create a brow that is a little thicker but still looks like hair, because you probably noticed I don't have a lot. So I'm going to tell you a story. It was 1994, and I said, I'm going to do my brows. And what do meant was to shave them off. And I continued to either shave them off, pluck them out. I think I even waxed them completely off a couple times until around 2001. I definitely have done some damage. The brows didn't grow back in the same, thickness that they once were. So I'm glad I became a makeup artist so I can kind of thwart what's happening. And I'm going to show you how to build hair-like strokes. And I'm going to do it with two of the three products. So I'm going to use the brow fixer and the definer. And I'm going to use the brow fixer first, actually. And then I'm also going to add in Shine Control Step 1 Primer. I have super oily skin, and in an hour, I'll be super shiny. So if I don't use this, I get pooling of oil in the center of my face. So I'm going to use this too. I'm going to show you how to use the fixer as a pomade. And then I'm also going to work in some matte velvet skin. So we have a lot going on. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the fundamental makeup techniques. So at Makeup Forever, we base all of the makeup that we do off these techniques. And the fundamental makeup technique for brows is that the brow starts at the nostril, it arches through the center of the eye, just on the outside of the pupil, and it ends at the corner of the eye. So like Danica always says, once we know these rules, we can break them. And I'm going to tell you why I'm going to break them, because you always want to have the why in there. I have a bit of a broader nose. So if I start my brow here, it starts pretty far back for me. Instead, I'm going to start where the bridge of my nose meets my nostril. That is where I'm going to start my brow. So I'm going to take my definer in color 50. I'm going to place it right on my nostril, and I'm going to rock it into my face and create that measurement for where my brow should begin. Then, instead of using my nostril again, I'm going to use the tip of my nose. And I'm going to create my mark for where my arch should be. Rock it into the face. So if you lay it right on the face, keep it there. You don't want to say, okay, there's where my mark should be, and then take the tool away, because it won't be accurate. And then I'm going to use the corner of my nostril and make the mark for where my brow should end. So I'm creating a brow that's based on the fundamental makeup techniques, but I'm just adjusting it based on my nose size. So the Shine Control, I'm just going to take a little bit. So I have just like a little bit on my finger. I'm going to work it together, and then I'm just going to press it into the brow. Because I'm a true oily skin. So within a couple hours of doing my makeup, I'm super shiny. And keep in mind, the Shine Control can be used before makeup or after makeup. So my makeup's already done, but my brow isn't. I'm just tapping in some Shine Control. Something else I like to do, because I don't have a lot of hair, I'm using that spoolie or brow brush on the definer, and I'm doing what I call teasing the brow hair. So typically you would brush up and out and really smooth that brow hair. I have 14 brow hairs, so I'm messing them up. I'm teasing them up. I'm creating volume, and that'll help also create the look of texture. So now I am taking my brow fixer, and remember, this sticks to skin and hair. So where I have no hair, it's going to stick. The tool is really firm, and I'm using my first measurement, and I'm just tracing the bottom of the brow. Using my pinky as an anchor, and also thinking about the angle, because I'm right-handed doing my right brow. So if I was looking straight in a mirror, my hand would be really flat to my face. And then I go to my left brow, and I'm not that flexible. So now I'm at like a 90-degree angle. And if I want my brows to look the same, we want to maintain those same angles. So I'm keeping it at about a 45 and rotating my face to maintain that angle with my hand. So for this, you could also use an angle brush. Simply dip it into the top and do this and use it as a pomade. I really consider this a pomade mixed with a brow gel because you get that opacity, that color payoff, but you also get that hold. So I dipped in again, and now I'm literally gonna brush up like I'm creating hairs. And you can see I haven't even finished. It creates the look of hair, but there's spaces. Those spaces are really key, and I'm gonna show you why. We want texture. And then I go down into the tail, maintaining the angle. I like a little bit of a thicker tail. Working my way back. And always stepping back to make sure our brows are on the same planet. Because naturally, we have one that's a bit more round and one that's a bit more straight. So now I'm gonna go back in my definer in color 50. And from here, you could outline the bottom if you like a really crisp baseline to your brow. And then I'm gonna tug on the center of my brow just slightly. And I'm literally gonna go in and draw hairs with spaces. So you wanna leave those spaces because it will look like hair. And so I'll show you on my hand. So typically when we do a brow, so that's our baseline, we go in and we do hair strokes, and then we go back, and then we go back again. And then before we know it, we've filled the entire brow. What I'm literally doing is this. I'm leaving those spaces because remember, in between those spaces, we have the brow fixer. We have the hair that's all teased and, angry. Angry at me for both over tweezing and because we teased it. And now I'm just going back in and adding a few more because I can see one is a bit more opaque than the other. What I could do as well is go back in with the brow fixer. My rule is always 2 textures and or 2 colors. So in this case, I'm using 2 textures in the brow fixer and the definer. And I'm just going in, leaving spaces and adding a little bit more. I also like a really soft front in the front of my brows. So I take the spoolie or brow brush and use it vertically and just smudge out that front. Because again, I don't have hair there. So if it's really square and harsh, then my secret is being revealed, that I have no brow hair. So just smudge those out. Take a step back. I can see it's a little bit thinner here. So I'm going to take my definer again, do my little tug, and add a few more hairs there. And you can see up close there that it looks like hair. But really, I have none. I'm going to use the Matte Velvet Skin Powder Foundation because I want it a little bit softer. I'm using a flat brush. It's color R520. And I like to just go in and kind of lightly. Plus I had that little boo-boo over here. I'm just going to smudge that out. And I usually only do the tail because I like the look of the front looking a little bit spiky. And that is how I thwart the 90s over tweezing and plucking. Is the shine control, which I almost forgot. So thank you for reminding me. Tease the brows to build that texture. The client doesn't have a lot of brow hair. You can use the brow fixer as a pomade. You can use it first, you can use it second, and then use the definer to do those hair strokes and leave spaces. Because remember, it is a definer, not a filler. Could you fill your brows with it? You could, but you're going to go through your product really fast because it's not meant for that. That fine tip is for definition and hair strokes. Then you can use something like the Matte Velvet Powder Foundation to just kind of naturally carve out the brows and give a little bit of finish, and those fundamental makeup techniques. So once you know the rules, then challenge yourself to challenge the rules, but always think about why you're doing it. So in my case, I use where the bridge of the nose meets the nostril because I do have a wider nose, and that ensures I create a brow that fits my face shape and my features. Try that on your clients. They'll be so impressed when we can touch people again. And you'll definitely have clients like me that are like, I grew up in the 90s. I wish I could have a thick brow. You'll be like, sit down. I can show you. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for listening to all my tips and tricks and my little horror stories when it comes to brows. I hope you find them super useful. And when you can touch people again, I hope they translate super easily for you.